happen to my allies. Maybe they might win 3v4, but it's highly unlikely. Oh, Chris replied, I might get the games. Nice. I'll get the games. Would be pretty nice to see what happened. So far, game number 1, we have Mayans versus Sitaux. I'll stop the music. I'll just focus more on commentating over this. I wish you could listen to this as a podcast. I need to go for a walk soon. Yeah, like there's not much like I don't think I can give as a caster, but as an insight, I can like see what each of the players' thought process and strategy would look like. So far, Mayans versus Malians, opening with a 2 militia rush, which Vinchester was the one who popularized it. Contrary to like the belief, Vinchester was the first one doing this to pretty much everyone, and Vinchester and Dark and Classic Pro, the Sals guys, were the ones who were doing it in qualifiers, where a lot of players noticed the pattern, and in the ladder games against them, where I was able to spot this pattern. So 2 militia rush is like, you can thank Vinchester for coming up with it. He's the one like who popularized it at the high level. So 20 to pop up, he likes to go up like pretty quickly to the next stage, followed up. And meanwhile, Sitaux is opening 2 militia defense and fast feudal. So he went for a Manatam opening with like 20 pop and added 2 militia while on his way up to the next stage. And he's going to use his own 2 militia to defend against Winchester's. Let's see what Winchester's follow-up is going to look like. I'm 1350. I started doing second militia. Okay, MD. I got confused. Last week and won 7 in a row as a random serve. Yeah, it's really strong. Don't get me wrong. But like, there's a few counter plays to it. And I'm not sure Sitaux is doing the one I would recommend. Sitaux went for a really fast up. He's using his 2 militia to basically batter down rest of the militias. Winchester was thinking about adding his own militias, but like basically cancelled them as soon as he saw that Sitaux is up really quickly. That's below 950, so that has to be 20 population if he's paying attention to it. Sitaux wants to make sure he doesn't lose his scout, and Winchester wants to make sure he doesn't lose his eagle. Both of the players wants to make sure that their scouting unit stays alive. Scout can't pick off the eagle, and the eagle can't really help in fighting against the militia at this point. A one range follow-up by a blacksmith. I am not expecting anything else from Sitaux as well. 2 lumber camps, only 1 woodline quite far away. His map is looking pretty bad. But on the other hand, Winchester has made his base quite secure in the front side. The wood and the berries and the gold are all protected by either buildings or he has vision enough. He wants to go for an outpost instead of completing his wall to the other side of the map. Moves out with 2 eagles, one of the eagles from the beginning of the game, and 3 archers with probably fletching. Yep. Sitaux knows about it. He should have spotted the direction of where Winchester's armies should be coming from. Winchester does not want to wall to the edge of the map. He's just making a choke point to his town center from the left of his base, and on the right he's just using the skirmishers to protect this hill. And probably the only spot I would be concerned for Winchester would be in front of his woodline, and he does not really have a second woodline. Outpost immediately spots the counter attack. Winchester is going to make a house to kind of stop it. Meanwhile, Sitaux is also fully walled on his side of the base, so this is going to probably do more damage than what Winchester is going to do, because Winchester is still open, and this basically means he wants to hold off this pressure by just using his micro. And Sitaux should get a villager. Should get it. Okay, he got a villager, and he's already ahead by 1 now. Maybe like something happened a little bit later. This is sloppy by Sitaux. He got the archer, but in exchange he lost the archer and a skirmisher. And he's trading away his archers in the front line. So yes, he got a villager. Yes, he might have a slight economy lead if we just check statistics. Winchester has more food collected. That's because he drushed. you rush, you go up later to feudalage with like more villages, and most of those villages are under your town center collecting food by making farms or something. So that is kind of expected. He's Mayan, so his food basically lasts longer as well. So those are probably a couple of things that is helping Vinchester stay in feudalage a little bit longer, and I mean in Dark Age longer, and having more food. So both of them are kind of stabilizing. Eagles are looking for the rest of the skirmishers or the archers. Maybe Winchester would like use a villager to wall off the complete side. Has gone and transitioned into the backwood line, still protecting. Yeah, so this is the area I was saying about, like that could be pretty problematic, but Winchester has transitioned his wood line in the back as well, so I don't think he's that concerned about it. Just keeping the skirmishers at home, not relying that heavily on the walls, is up quite, like actually almost 10% faster than Sitaux. I think that's probably because of the amount of skirmishes Sitaux went for compared to Winchester. Winchester probably went for a little bit less, going for crossbow, bodkin, and wheelbarrow immediately, and he will be hitting the wood line in the back. And Sitaux knows about it. He's going to protect it. And he catches Winchester's army over here. This is really good for Sitaux. And he is going for elite skirmishers, crossbow, and bodkin. Winchester doing a really good job of picking off the crossbows in this fight. And now he's moving out with a couple of skirmishers on the left, going for a siege workshop immediately once he loses the army in the front. Still making crossbows from double range production. And I'm gonna be curious to see when he wants to add a town center, or if he wants to add a town center just yet. Sitaux going for ballistics. And yeah, he pushes him off from the front wood line a little bit. Sitaux can't fight it. He has both Mangonel and his army over there. Adding a second TC finally. And this looks like in the territory of fast imping, which is also something Winchester is quite like notorious for. Where, yeah, he just idles his eco, clicks up at 50-60 villages, and makes sure he doesn't lose this big ball of crossbows. Yeah, and that's what he's exactly going to do. Just needs to wait for a second building, and then he clicks up to the next stage. 2 town center, crossbow, arbalist play with like a couple of mangonels for defense. Sitaux has like a couple of choices here. He can either go for guard tower defense, or he can play. How does Maya bonus work for eco? That is 15% extra resources. So sheep gives 115 food except 100. When I check, sheep is always shows 100, not 115. So there's like a good video I remember seeing where if you collect 10 gold from a gold mine, you actually have like the gold is not collected by 10 completely from mines. That's where like the efficiency bonus of like 15% longer lasting resources comes from. It's 100. Yes, you technically get 115 food out of the sheep. I'm not sure what the math is in terms of collection from each of the individual, but that is how it should be. You should get 115 food from each sheep. And now with like what, 13-ish farms and idling a lot of his TC and buying food for rest of his upgrades, he's able to click up to Imperial Age with Mayans. And now he's just gonna use the range, and let's see how he finishes off Sitaux. Sitaux went for upgrades, that's why the economy lead is not as big. Sitaux went for upgrades early Castle Age, and he got the map control for it, but Winchester went for like double grade with his faster Imperial play. If Sitaux was able to kill Winchester's army at that particular point in the game, he would have lost the game. Winchester would have lost the game if Sitaux pushed like a little bit harder. A little bit quicker, a little bit harder with less upgrades. Because then the boom will be higher. Now it's just Arbalest with 3 range, constant production, 2 town centers and like adding a castle, so he'll make traps. This is the guard tower defense I was talking about. But I'm not really sure like it's enough because the eco lead is not that big. If you collect 10 gold from 800 gold mine, you get 10 gold, and yeah, it's like, yeah, that's exactly. But Mayan's mine will be 791.5. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I wanted to say as well, but in a dumb way. Nice guard tower defense. Like, at least theory-wise, Sitaux is playing pretty sound, but not having, like, even this +4 with not having enough numbers, skirmishes are so weak. Vinchester is switching to Eagles. Eagles will be the nail in the coffin for Sitaux, unfortunately. He just does not have enough economy. Even with 110 villages, it's way too late. He has invested into like 1 unit, which is going to take him quite a bit of time to pay off. Elite Eagles Arbalist are so efficient. Hand cannons are pretty good. Yeah, but like he just lost all the bombard cannons. His army is so much more expensive compared to Vinchester. Vinchester has to like invest so less into getting the same amount of army. And now the Eagles are coming, kills the trebs. His trebs are going to shoot down the castle in the middle. Arbalists are like AFK in the corner. These villagers are running for their lives. It's just over. The mid-game point where Vinchester was able to get like a lot of value out of the Arbalist was the deciding factor. This is why I don't really like Malians versus Mesosevs in general. Yes, champions are good. Yes, like Cavalier and the word bonus and all of that is pretty decent. But not having Bracer, not having like the most amazing late game will lead you down the path where most of the Mesosevs can just easily deal with them. I personally don't like Malians, but each have their own preferences. But they're like good at some things, bad at some things, but yeah. Like even with these champions, they're pushing them back. Like that's pretty decent, but population-wise, Vinchester is still above. Is gonna start mixing in plumes, which are gonna do a lot better versus the champions. I'm surprised this did any damage at all. This is just Vinchester probably messing up. And now plume marches with eagles to raid, plumes to push. And when, like, yeah, this was just like a racing against time. Good questions for T90 today. Do check out a match against Huang. Killed Huang, got Mongol Huang. What? No. Why would I do that? Next up we have Indians versus Mongols on Serengeti. This is Arabia, but like sort of more open and with more hills. And now Winchester went for the shorefish with Indians, pretty smart. And then is going for the deer, 21 pop-up for scouts. And Sitaux went for 2 militia rush. He was going to kill most of the hunt. Already got a villager, Sitaux is already ahead. Yes. Added 1 more militia, adding a spearman. Winchester defending with just scouts. And like pretty good micro. That like actually turned out well for Winchester. Sitaux should be walled. Not really, he's not really walled. The scouts are not getting any damage. Here comes the skirmisher switch. Pretty conservative tower. Like Sitaux should win from this position. Like Sitaux is clearly much ahead. I'm not sure what's going on with the skirmisher opening, but like he's just in such a more comfortable position compared to Winchester. If I am in Sitaux's position, I'll just follow it up with crossbow and plus one stable knight, and you'll just win. He kills the forward army, but I don't think the damage is done. He forced a tower, and now Sitaux has to make sure like he doesn't take damage. That's the next big priority. He's adding scouts, but like he should not get overzealous with it, because there's already a tower. You're not getting any more damage on Vinchester. You might maintain the map control, but like he has to make sure he clicks up. He can't delay his uptime by any longer. Yeah, this is like really clean play from Sitaux. Pushes him off gold. Still kind of being risky with his army like this. This is why, like, he loses most of his archers before they turn into crossbows while playing like this. And Vinchester is playing cavalry archers too, and adding a TC almost immediately. Cavalry archers should not do any damage. Three town centers. This is Hun play. This is how like old school Huns used to play, where they make elite skirmishers as the opening and then transition into cavalry archers, where you can just make sure that you maintain and like just enough army to push away the crossbows, and then like make raids with cavalry archers. Three town centers compared to Sitaux, who is on. It was on 3 TC as well. But not enough knights, just one knight. Okay, I'm back for a sec. I got the games. Thanks a lot. Okay, I have the games between Chris and Miguel as well. This should be really fun. Did Hans got nerfed? I hear the Hans got nerfed like that. What? Yes, Hans got nerfed. It's been nerfed for a very long time. Skirmishers, cavalry archers. He can't really like pretty much do that. And yeah, 78 versus 78. Sitaux has like the population lead. And Vinchester wants to get a castle over here. The skirmishers melt. Sitaux can click up. I mean, Vinchester clicks up. Indian economy really strong. What was the nerf? The cavalry archers in general got more expensive, and instead of a straight buff into like cheaper cavalry archers by whatever percentage it was already at, they became like a little bit more expensive than that. Sitaux has 10 plus villages, but he's delaying his imperial by quite a lot. There's one thing I talk about all the time. You can't delay your imperial when you're playing as the archer civilization for more than 80 villages. If you click up after 80 villages, you're always late on imperial. Unless you make a cavalry switch, you should not delay your uptime. Now Vinchester can actually push him back by going skirmishers, and if he goes skirmishers hussar faster than Sitaux, Sitaux is in trouble, because Sitaux doesn't have any army to kill that at the moment. Skirmisher bombard cannon, and he's switching into cavalry. Quite a pretty good like eco distribution at the moment. And now light cover pushing him back. I don't mind the position, but But I still prefer to be in Winchester's shoes quite a bit because overall his like eco in the late stages will be like so much stronger until he gets like his own elite Mangudai on the field. Winchester is always just gonna be in a much better position. Going for heavy camel, Hussar. Heavy camels make sure that like the Hussars basically never do damage. Mangudai, not full upgrades, but he's getting decent upgrades. Sitaux should wait for his massing his army. He's getting raided in the back. Not sure if he's paying attention to it. Free armor from Indians also like really helping out in these fights for Winchester. Now Winchester just switches to full camels. He's overboomed on villages, but I don't think it matters for the time being. Lots of hussars for Sitaux. And he can't send them like this. If he wants to raid, this is not the time to raid. You can't raid before taking a big fight. You're just buffing up the army and now I'm afraid this army should have been used to protect his base instead. Managed to build, like, quite significantly reduce down the village numbers of Sitaux. So, the big reason, I think maybe a lot of people might disagree with, like, what I'm about to say, but, like, you have to make sure your population stays up. Sending the hussars to raid is fine if you send them in low enough numbers, but he sent all his hussars. He basically threw the game with every possibility of no comebacks from that position. Yes, he was losing his castles. Yes, like if he fought against the straight camels under the castle, he would have died immediately as well. But it's better to save that army and just float population, and then like once you have enough of a mass, he just had hussars. He did not have the time to switch to Mangudai. If he had the time to switch to Mangudai, he would have won the game. African River. Okay, this is like a hybrid map, pretty close distance between both of them. I'm expecting straight archers with like a dock over here to make a couple of galleys or fires or whatever. Or maybe like a man-at-arm rush on the outer wood line. I'm curious to see what each of them are going to open with. Sitaux went for Japanese, Winchester went for Burgundians. Out of all the civilizations he could go for, Burgundians is a curious thing. I'm not like disagreeing with it that much, but it's fun to see the difference in philosophy from both the players. You can clearly see with Japanese it's more hybrid oriented. Burgundians is not the thing that comes to my mind once I think hybrid maps, but it kind of makes sense because you get like your upgrades a little bit quicker using the food and the wood. Not sure if he went for a dock. Winchester did not even invest into a dock. And yeah, this like fish are pretty deep fish are pretty important, I would say. So just skipping that in its entirety is weird to me. And he wants to open scouts. Okay, I would not advise this at all. Winchester is playing really weird. No, he's going on gold. So this is straight archers or maybe FC even. No, there's a 20 pop-up, straight archers. And Sitaux is going for man-at-arms. Again, weird choice from him, I would say. Honestly, once you see that your opponent is not unfished, going for man-at-arms might be something I would not really advise. Because, yeah, he can do a tower here. Maybe. Is he going to do towers? Because the old Sitaux would have done that. Man-at-arms don't do any damage versus straight archer openings if the players are good enough. I was expecting straight archers from both of them. Man-at-arms not getting any value, but like it kind of gets compensated by the fishing ships. Old Sitaux was like super aggressive. New Sitaux is more defensive. Even if like you might see him be aggressive in general, that's mostly because old school Sitaux used to just go balls to the walls, full aggressive stuff. You part of 2v2 Nomad tournament? I don't think so. I don't have anyone to play with. I did like hear the announcement, but I just don't have anyone to play with. Both opening arches, double dog fires to harass the fish of Sitaux. Spring is not interested in playing Age of Empires 2 at all. What elo range are you looking for? 2k should be the minimum, I guess. I don't know. Crossbow from Sitaux, double stable, skirmishers from Vinchester. The uptime difference kinda really paid off. Good lead for Sitaux. And still maintaining his fish. Vinchester finally decided he wanted to fish a little bit. Skirmisher defense, adding on stone. Man, watching Vinchester always makes me feel like he's barely winning. Every game I see, like he takes huge ass fucking risk and he barely gets paid for it and then wins the game. Vinchester plays so risky. I would not imagine myself playing like this ever. It's not even calculated risks, because if it goes wrong, he just loses the game. I mean, you can kind of see that in a series versus Viper, right? Where like he takes risks and Viper just like was punishing him left and right for every one of his plays. Sitaux not quite able to do it. 68, like 20 villager lead in this game. Cavalier switch and Sitaux wanted to drop a castle and the Cavaliers caught the villagers. This is not good. Oh my god. What the fuck? Sitaux is throwing. Sitaux is really throwing this game. The castle got denied twice in both the positions. And now crossbows are moving out on the side. I feel like Sitaux has no clue where to push. And Vinchester is like just making enough skirmishes to hold. And I'll be a 2k near, but if you can't wait, I'm telling some other 2ks, sure. Yeah, Vinchester just like crushed the north and now has more map control than Sitaux. Sitaux like was kinda really I would say just confused on where he wanted to expand, and like being in both positions at once. If he was like dropping the castle in the south with the crossbows in the position he wanted to put it on the north, he would have won the game, because once that castle goes up, Vinchester loses a lot of his area on the map. Skirmishers are cleaning everything else, and Costelier will kill all of the other units. Population wise, Winchester still like 100 population compared to Sitaux sitting on 150, but Sitaux does not have enough like resources or the map control to push him back in time. Sitaux is switching into Cavalier, or maybe it's Light Cav. I'm not sure I agree with it, because like Costeliers will just murder everything. Halberdiers would be such a better unit, or even Samurai. Why not Samurai? He had 2 castles. Samurai produced fairly quickly, 3 castles even. Not sure why the inclusion of stable was needed. Yeah, just go Samurai instead. Let me check his resources. Yes, pretty decent gold income. Throwing away the Arbalest in the base instead of slow pushing. Sitaux still having more population, 50 more population, 140 villages. Vinchester is dying. When is my Wandering Warriors game? I asked for scheduling, I don't have an answer back yet. Just go Samurai to win the game. That's like the only advice I think I can give to Sitaux in this position. He has map control. He has like the pushing army. If he just mixes in Samurai in his army, he wins the game.
Yes.
Does he not have the gold income for it? Nope, he is producing from all of his archery ranges. Just like getting raided to death by Costelier, maintaining somewhat of a push in the center, but man, a couple of like Sailstone, couple of Samurai mixed in, it will make Winchester's life a living hell. They are so much better than Pikemen because their tanks so much more than elite skirmishes, and the bonus damage versus Costelier will be like so strong. And no guard towers yet. Something like Japanese is known for in the late game. Quite a nice game. Pushes them back with the bombard cannons. Bombard cannons do like as much damage as a trebuchet almost to the buildings, with like the Burgundian bonus and stuff. Maybe like a little bit less than that, but like having plus 10 attack on your bombard cannons is so strong versus the Arbalest and versus buildings. Samurai, finally, elite Samurai. He had the resources for it for quite a long time, but I'm like sorry to say it's way too late for it now. He already lost so much of the position, which like he was fighting in even numbers for a very long time. Now Costeliers just melt over everything Sitaux has, and Sitaux calls the game. Opening mana terms was weird, not switching to Samurai fast enough, moving out way too much with his Arbalest and losing them to the skirmishes. Vinchester playing greedy, booming under pressure, always kind of behind, but clicking Imperial with less economy, less map control, less army, but still getting away with it and then eventually winning. That's like a theme I'm seeing from Vinch, where he just barely manages to hold on. Underinvests, like plays a little bit greedy, makes sure, like barely makes sure that he doesn't get punished for it, and then wins the game because of it. It's such a big risk. When you click Imperial, you are investing a lot of resources into going up to the next stage. And when you're playing with a defensive unit like skirmishers, you are very vulnerable to like mangonel pressure or like a night switch. But I think like it's just not being able to punish it. Vinchester going for his really famous 2 militia rush. I would have expected nothing else from him. And walls from Sitaux, pretty smart walls. Maybe not. The walls are quite big. Well, does he want to FC? Added a 3rd militia, 4th militia. And Sitaux is going for straight range with Manatoms get in. Archers are pushing him back. This is worth it for Vinch. He forced so much idle time out of Sitaux already, and forcing him to make so many skirmishes. I don't think Vinchester would be unhappy about the investment he made Sitaux do. Now he's up to the castle age faster than Sitaux, and a really good uptime. Really, really good uptime. 20 minutes up. And that's probably mostly something has to be contributed to the Vietnamese economy. Towers from Sitaux, he does not want to get pressured overhead. Double stable, adding a second TC. Second TC from Vinchester as well, adding a monastery to potentially convert the future knights. Making house walls, crossbows, getting wheelbarrow, adding a market. Okay, this is Imperial again. I can already tell and look at the resources and say it's going to be Imperial. Does Sitaux realize it's going to be Imperial? I don't think so, because it's already way too late. He should have already been pushing. Like, after that second TC went up, and you saw Sitaux leave, the next, Winchester leave, the next thing should have been just to add your own mangonel. Now, I think it's way too late. Does Sitaux have enough for a castle? Yes, he does. He's gonna buy a castle. This should be ringing bells in your mind. If you have played Winchester ever in your life, this should be like the one thing you should be always concerned about. Is he going to play fast temp? If he's playing this passive in the mid game, giving up full map control, letting you have the center, even though he was playing crossbows faster than you, it's just fast temp. Like, you can just blindly think like about anything else. Fast temp Chester. Third one. That's actually perfect. He should change his name into Fast temp Chester. That's a good one. Toss the castle. Sitaux gives up. Okay, like, he should not give up this early, but I can understand his frustration of that castle not going up. If that castle went up, Winchester actually would need like 5 minutes before he breaks out of his base, and then hopefully, like, Sitaux can either play like full castle age, night flood, keep Winchester invested into like his base till the gold runs out, which is going to actually not be that much. Like, he's almost out of gold. He has to wait out 800 more gold. If he can wait out 800 more gold plus a little bit of market abuse, he wins the game, because Winchester then has no gold income. He can win this game if this castle went up, but since this castle went down, did not go up, there's actually no chance for him at the moment. It's a fair resign, but if this went up, he would have been fine if he played it correctly from that point forward. 20 villager lead, makes sense.